Hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sarge here. Well, whatever hopes, dreams, and aspirations the Houston Texans had of chasing down the 1972 Miami Dolphins undefeated regular season record, went right down the drain right here at SoFi Stadium as they lose their season opener by a score 14-9 to the Los Angeles Rams. The Houston Texans were dealt a big blow before the game even started. Offensive lineman Ed Ingram, who had been dealing with abdominal issues throughout the week and was even listed as questionable as of Friday, was ruled out on Sunday before the game even started. Now, what that did to the Houston Texans offensive line, even though they had a small time to prepare, knowing that he may not be available, you still have to take Ariante Ursery, the rookie out of Minnesota, from the left side and put him at the right side, a position that he hadn't played since or practiced at in over a month. You move Titus Howard from right tackle to right guard, a position he hadn't played in over a month. There had been continuity that had been built up between that offensive line and quarterback C.J. Stroud, and you could just see throughout training camp and even a small sample size that we got throughout the preseason, you could tell that they had started to build some sort of camaraderie with each other. You could tell that the offensive line was getting CJ's habits down and CJ was getting their habits down. And then all of a sudden, you bring Cam Robinson back, who hadn't practiced at the left tackle position with the first unit for over a month. Then you put Ariante at the right tackle, you put Titus at the right guard, and now there is almost like a makeshift line that you're trying to use to go up against one of the strongest defensive fronts in the NFL, led by defensive linebackers, outside linebackers, Jarrett Verse and Byron Young. When you look at that and you see those type of players, when you have a player like Verse, when you have a player like Young, they can make it hard for veterans who have played in their offensive line position for years. And now you have Cam Robinson, who hadn't practiced. Now you got Ariante Ursery, a rookie, looking at this defensive front, trying to make sure that he can protect his quarterback. And so with everything already, with everything already intact heading into this first game, now everything went to disarray. And so that's why I'm not surprised that the offense didn't look as well as they should have looked. Now, we could also say that they were missing slot wide receiver Christian Kirk. He may have been able to turn this game around. You could say that if Joe Mixon would have been in the game, things probably could have been a little bit different as far as the running game is concerned. But, hey, look, if and buts were candy and nuts, the world would be a whole better place. And so what the Houston Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans said, we're not going to make excuses. He said that injuries happen all across the NFL. C.J. Stroud said, you got to have that next man up mentality. You cannot you cannot use injuries as an excuse. You cannot use the lack of camaraderie with new guys on the offensive line as an excuse. And so what the Houston Texans did was they came into this game. The offense didn't look as good as some would thought it would look, but there's hope. And you can tell that first-year offensive play caller like a Nick Caley is going to be able to build on what he saw today. He's going to be able to build on getting the packages together. And let's be honest. Some of the things that he did was Bobby Slowick-like. There were some plays that were Bobby Slowick-like. And with that being said, I don't know if you all remember me telling you all this or not, but I told you that Bobby Slowick, in his first 2 years, used up all of the first-year play calling excuses that Nick Caley was going to be able to use. They're all gone now. And so with that being said, you got to look at the Texans and how they're going to be able to rebound, how they're going to be able to come back. I feel, really bad for Dare Ogunbowale, who actually talked after the game about the big fumble that he had at the end of the game as the Houston Texans were looking to score and take the lead in the game. Late in the game, he fumbled the ball. He took accountability for that. You look at DeMeco Ryans and him saying how the team can can rebound and bounce back from that, and how Dare can rebound and bounce back from that. So it's just one of those things where you're saying to yourself, can they recover? Can they take whatever they did along this game? And I'm talking about the offense side and the defense side of the ball, who the defense had their lapses as well. You got to be able to account for Puka Nacua wherever he is. And you got to know that Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay are looking for the best opportunity for a mismatch. And they found that a lot on Sunday for Puka Nacua, who had a big game. And that was with him going in and out of the game from, suffering concussion-like symptoms and also, suffering a laceration to the face. He still came back and he did what he did. Devontae Adams, being the seasoned veteran that he is, actually helped out a lot. And so that Houston Texans defense plays stout. They just got to get better. Like Will Anderson said, they got to get better. D'Amico Ryan said their eye discipline has to be better. They have to tackle better. And it's only week 1. It is only week 1. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. And make sure that you're reading all my articles on www.bigsargemedia.com. Whoa, Sarge. Don't you have one more thing that you need to tell them? Don't you have a big announcement that you need to make? Yeah, I do. But guess what? You gotta wait till the next video for that. Big Sarge, I'm out.